Hello, everyone. Welcome to BiogasWorld Spain Focus Month webinar discussing the challenges and opportunities of the biogas and biomethane market in Spain. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and will be shared with participants following the webinar. In addition, if you have any questions for our presenters, we invite you to write them in the Q&A tab, and we will ask our presenters following their presentations or in the Q&A at the end of the webinar. BiogasWorld hosts new country focus webinars throughout the year to discuss the opportunities and challenges within various markets. Be sure also to join us on our biogas community website for the latest updates and to network with companies in the biogas and biomethane industry. I would like to thank our presenters for joining us today. Francisco Repullo, Honorary President at AEBIG, and Ines Hedan, Export Development Manager for Spain and Portugal at Methalac. Before we begin, I will briefly share some information about BiogasWorld and a brief overview on recent investments in the Spanish market. BiogasWorld is a commercial platform which offers services to the biogas and biomethane industries. Our services include marketing and business promotion via our wide network of followers, market intelligence services, networking, and our biogas community platform. We have hosted country and region-focused months for various national biogas markets throughout the last year, promoting the industry, companies, and projects located in the Focus Month region. The Spanish government has set an ambitious target of 20 terawatt-hours of biogases by 2030, with currently only 0.5 terawatt-hours operational and 1.2 terawatt-hours under construction. Developers are attempting to meet Spanish goals. Major commitments have been made by Biogas Peninsular, Naturgy, and MOVE. In recent months, Naturgy and MOVE have further announced several new partnerships and investments as well. The EBA estimates that investments in the Spanish market total over 1.5 billion euros. Many of these investments focus on the feedstock-rich regions of Castile and Leon and Andalusia, which are estimated to have a combined potential of 61.4 terawatt-hours and could potentially support around 850 facilities. At the end of 2024, there were approximately 11 facilities upgrading biogas to biomethane across Spain. The most popular technology is membrane separation, featured at over half of operational facilities. Active companies in the market include Bright Renewables, Protoval, FNX, DMT, Waga Energy, Pietro Fiorentini, Greenlane, and Sysadvance. So thank you for your attention on this brief overview. I will now pass the floor over to Francisco Repullo, Honorary President at AEBIG. Francisco is an industrial engineer. He co-founded the Spanish Biogas Association in 2009 and was the organization's president for 15 years. He is also a co-founder of the European Biogas Association and currently an honorary president, of AEBIG. He owns his own consulting company for the biogas and biomethane industry, which he founded in 2007 and operates as an independent consultant. So I'll just close this and pass the floor over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks for attending this session, and thanks to BiogasWorld to offer me this opportunity to present the situation in Spain from our perspective. Next slide, please. Well, the association was founded 16 years ago. It was a group of engineering companies, basically as equipment suppliers, who at that moment, biogas was almost unknown in Spain, and we decided to have an association to defend our interests, to promote, to make dissemination, and also with the vocation to be the focal point among all the stakeholders. National, international, the government, Brussels, and all the companies in Spain. Next slide, please. Well, let me say a few words about the country. Spain is the second largest country in the European community. When I talk about Europe, I always refer to European Union, I mean the 27 member states. It was the second, a little bit smaller than France, but as you can see, in terms of livestock, if we put all together, we are the first producer in the European Union. And with this, you can see in the column on the right, that in certain areas, like in pigs, we are the third in the world. We have also a lot of poultry, and Well, that means also that we are the champions in manure and slurry, unfortunately. Well, in terms of agriculture area, Spain is a very mountainous country. This is unknown. We are the second in the European Union in mountains after Switzerland. That means that we have the agriculture area is sometimes not so easy, and we have problems with water. It's almost every year. This year is a bit exceptional, but we have a lot, you can say, of millions of hectares that are rain-fed crops. Next slide, please. Well, what is the situation in the European Union? The European Union is growing really at a very steady pace. You can see 20% year over year. Currently, this graphic is from 2022, but currently we are in the European Union. There are more than 1,400 plants. The objective, according to the REPowerEU, the gas package, the objective is to have 35 BCMs, or almost 400 terawatts by 2030. And by 2030, the objective, the goal is to be basically to have decarbonized the whole continent. I think it's quite difficult, but it's objective. In that case, you will reach 167 BCMs, or the equivalent, almost 1,800 terawatts per year. So next slide, please. So what is the situation in this scenario of Spain? Well, you will see that Spain was always very, as I said, unknown sector. It's almost unknown yet. We can see that biogas plants, if we include all the different sources, sewage, agriculture, landfill, etc., we have less than 300 plants. If we compare this figure with the biogas plants in the rest of the European Union, they are around 20,000, and we have less than 300. That means 1%, roughly speaking, 1%. And if we look at the biomethane plants, we have one more that you said, Ryan. We have now 11 operating, but in the European Union, we have probably at this moment 1,700. I don't know if this is the right number. Maybe Ines has a better figure, but like that. So less than 1%. So this is the situation. So let's go to see why. So next slide, please. Well, according to Household Climate, Spain has a huge potential. Currently, we are the fourth largest biogas methane production potential in the European Union, after Germany, France, Italy. You see that our potential is 45 terawatts for 2030. Is the potential. If we look at, we are here, you can see in this square, red square, Spain in the fourth position. There are like a little bit hat on top. This gray, clear gray. This is the gasification potential, thermal gasification potential. But you see that basically all the potential is in anaerobic digestion. Next slide, please. For 2050, if we look at the reports from the European Commission, we move to be the third, not the fourth, but the third, after Germany and France. Why that? Well, if you look at the cake on the right side, here the most important are the blue sects. This blue that is for energy crops, and the dark green that is for forestry residues. This cake is more than debatable. It's something that to put under question marks, because of course energy crops, when I have said it was Spain, a dry country and with a lot of mountains, maybe it's not so. One thing is the potential, the other thing is the possibility to do it. And the same thing with 26% of the forestry residues. This is basically gasification, and gasification again is something that is not yet, I would say, fully implemented. It's just taking off. So, but anyhow, in manure and the rest of organic waste, we have still a lot to do. Next slide, please. Well, what are the challenges we are facing? But basically, we can categorize them in different areas. If we go top down, we can see that the first we have what is the framework from policies point of view. No? When I mentioned here the need of a stable regulatory framework, the legal security, is because in 2012 it was the government decided to stop suddenly the fitting premiums, and at that moment many projects were really stopped, and in certain I would say the promoters in the country are afraid that this can happen again. That's why we need to be sure that there is a stable regulatory framework. Very important. On the other hand, we have no financial support, no FIT, no FIP, no tax relief. So I mean, everything has to be done taking into in the financial statement, in the business case, that the plants are self-sufficient by themselves without external support, financial support. Let's go to see now we go down a little bit. So next slide, please. In terms of new regulations, or total regulations, well, there are several things. So we have to have prioritize the injection. This is important because not always the capacity of the network is able to admit what we want to inject. And in case that the grid is not close, to have other alternatives like reverse flow or virtual gas pipes. To put a quota to the traders important, and they agree. And then for the promoters that they have not to support all the additional investment for the infrastructures. Like in France, for instance, in France they have help. Here no, they have to pay everything. And here is our proposal, is what I said in the two bottom lines. Next slide, please. Public administration. See, we are requesting more involvement from their side, a role more active. We need all the ministries to be involved in that. This is not a sector affecting only at agricultural or industrial or whatever. It's totally transversal. So we need also to make emphasize all the environmental benefits. This is not only a renewable energy, it's something else. It's a lot of positive externalities that can be monetized. They have to look at that. And then they can help just making things like, for instance, the municipal waste to be compulsory, to be treated in a biogas biomethane plant. And also have to encourage the demand, not only the supply. Next slide, please. Well, one of the bottlenecks we have today is the social acceptance. I would say yes, the opposite, not acceptance on the social side. No? This happens because this sector is evolving abruptly, very fast. Suddenly, it's appearing like champignon, and then there are many companies coming here, starting to do business, and we need a bit of putting order in that, I would say, because in one side is unknown, so the ecological movements, they ignore what is that, and they are afraid that this can explode, but others, many risks they see in that because they are not well informed. And in the other side, we have to admit that probably some projects are not really, so that they need to be improved. They are not really 100% so to explain properly that they are good for the population and they are not a risk. So they have all these things I hear that we can later on in one review, but this is a big challenge today. Next slide, please. Well, why we believe that this is we are going to be successful? First of all, because European, without the contribution of Spain, will not be able to reach the objectives they have for 2030 and 2050, taking into account that Spain is the fourth and moving to be the third country as a contributor to these objectives. Real interest, of course, we have the main promoters in Spain are the gas companies, and also we have money, promoters coming from abroad, like Goldman Sachs or like JP Morgan. So they trust in this country, in this aspect. And then we have a demand of biomethane that we cannot satisfy today. This is a good point. Well, so and then I mentioned all the other businesses around the biogas, CO2, biofertilizers, to create Spain in the center of Spain is depopulated more and more. So we can create activity and areas to work in these areas that are now following a process of depopulation. Next slide, please. Well, in summary, I would say that today we are almost starting from scratch. We have a lot of things to do and on high potential. We have mature technology in the world, not only in Spain. We have promoters, I say, we have the money waiting for. We have qualified professionals in this country, high demand. We cannot satisfy the demand. The price is marketable, keeping in mind the demand of guarantees of origin, the high value of this to avoid to pay the emissions rights. We want to do it, and we have the stakeholders. So let's go.
Thank you for your presentation, Francisco. Maybe a quick question before we move on. So if there was a particular European market model, which one do you think would be most suitable for the Spanish circumstances?
Very good question. Thank you. Well, in fact, when we look at the European market, each country has a different model. Not all of them are equal. Germany was the first one, but it's a different conception. Denmark too, but Denmark is a small country with a concentration of livestock. So we are not like Denmark, we are just the opposite, a large country. So in my opinion, personal opinion, I think the French model would be the most suitable for Spain, because we are similar in extension, in agriculture, in livestock. That means that probably the model of France, that is not only to make macro installations, but also to help the producers, the farmers, to have their own plant in their village, not to concentrate several villages, certain waste from different places in a unique place. I think the French model, and also the government providing economical support, financial support. So I think it's the model that for us will be a successful model, in my opinion, the French model.
Great, thank you for your presentation. As a reminder for our participants, if there are any questions for Francisco, please type them in the Q&A tab and we'll return to it during the Q&A period. Next up, we have Ines Hedan, Biogas and Business Developer for Spain for Methalac. Since 2023, based in their group offices in Madrid for Vinci Energies, in charge of the market analysis for biogas projects across Spain and Portugal. She has spent nearly 2 years in identifying opportunities in the renewable energy sector, building relationships with key stakeholders, and contributing to strategic decisions for market expansion. So Ines, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you so much for your invitation. I'm going to share the presentation. Yes, perfect. Okay. So thank you so much for your invitation. Thank you for your participation. Thank you, Francisco. I'm going to try to not repeat what you say, but we have some similar points, so I hope it will be interesting. Okay. To give you an idea, Methalac is a French company, so I'm going to give you like a comparison with France. In 2019, Europe had more than 80,200 biogas plants with a total electrical capacity of approximately 11,000 and annual production of 63,000 gigawatts of biogas. And in fact, we have 1,548 biogas plants injecting in Europe, and more or less than 700 in France. By 2023, France had established itself as the third largest biomethane producer in Europe, with 9.1 terawatt hour produced, nearly double the 2021 output. By the end of the year, the country had more than 700 in biogas plant, generally smaller in size, ensuring a more even distribution across the territory. But today we are leading the production in injection. Spain, despite being a latecomer to biomethane development, is now ramping up its efforts. As of December 2023, 9 plants were already injecting into the grid, and the country aims to reach 20 terawatt of production by 2030. So the Spanish market is evolving rapidly, presenting numerous opportunities as well as strategic challenges, which we will now explore in more details. So I'm going to develop some points that Francisco also said, but we saw that growing political and regulatory support. Spain has recently strengthened its commitment to the energy transition, notably through the Integrated National Energy and Climate Plan, the PNIEC, which aims to boost biogas production. Financial incentives and subsidies are being implemented, particularly through European funds and national initiatives for industrial decarbonization and the circular economy. For example, in France, we have a feed-in tariff, clear regulation, and much shorter permitting time frame. We usually obtain the permit 1.5 years before beginning construction, to give you an idea. Also, it's an emerging biomethane market, so the injection of biomethane into Spanish gas grid is still limited but expanding rapidly, which a regulatory framework currently being adapted to support its development. The growing demand for renewable fuels in heavy transport like trucks, buses, maritime, presents a promising opportunity for bio-CNG. And also the important point is the interest from industrial and energy players. Major Spanish and European energy groups like Naturgy, Repsol, Cepsa, Naras, etc. are beginning to make significant investments in the sector. Cross-border cooperation projects with France and other European countries are emerging also, fostering the development of an interconnected biomethane market with certificate of origin. We also have a lot of challenges in this market. Our regulatory framework still evolving. Unlike other European countries such as Germany or France, Spain has lagged in biogas development due to a long-standing lack of clear regulations. The implementation of feed-in tariff and guarantees of origin certificates for biomethane is still being structured. Also, we have a high infrastructure cost. Building anaerobic digestion plants remains expensive, and the return on investment can be lengthy without a clearly incentive framework. Spain also needs to further develop its distribution network to enable biomethane injection and transportation. To give you an idea, in France they have decreased because GRDF, the French gas distributor, has invested massively in injection points and gas pipelines. Also, we know that we have a competition with other renewable energies. The country has heavily invested in solar and wind energy, which are developing more rapidly and benefiting from decreasing production costs. Biogas must therefore demonstrate its competitiveness and complementary role in the energy mix. And last but not least, awareness and social acceptance. Some anaerobic digestion projects face local opposition due to environmental concerns or other issues. And the lack of public industrial awareness of biogas benefits is slowing its adoption. In France, we also have faced challenges regarding social acceptance. To address them, we have implemented various strategies, including intervention with institutions and communities. We also organize open days to allow visitors to tour our units and engage in discussion. And in fact, I'm going to present a unit that provides solutions to a wide range of issues. Just to give you an idea, Methalac and to give you some context, Methalac is a French company with over 30 years of experience in the biogas market. We have more than 65 plants installed in neighboring countries and over 100 plants under maintenance or biology contracts. Sorry. At Methalac, we implement several actions to support the Spanish market because it's near to France, but that's not the same market. Firstly, we leverage our experience in Alperujo, olive pomace, and our know-how, particularly through our biological database. To effectively support projects, we get involved from the early stage of the project, providing full support right from the beginning. In Spain, we observe a significant amount of agro-industrial and agri-food waste. With our experience, we process these residues using our in-house developed pasteurization system, ensuring tailored and efficient solution. And finally, our management teams, combined with our biological monitoring, allow for ongoing support to our clients in the long term in this emerging market where we offer our expertise and skill in the service for the long haul. The goal in Spain is to support the market in a structured and intelligent way, capitalizing on the experience gained from the development of the French markets. To give you an idea, we have this case study, Metamoly. A biomethane production is already operating between Lyon and Saint-Étienne, transforming 25,000 tons of agricultural and agro-industrial waste per year into 180 normal cubic meter per hour of biomethane, financed by the community of municipalities. It supplies the gas grid on the CNG refueling station for vehicles and intercity buses. The facility includes pasteurization and other control system, ensuring environmental compliance and sustainable waste recovery. It may seem small, but this is the preferred model in France, where the feed-in tariff is more attractive for units of this size. In Spain, we have adapted our model to suit the specific of this market. Let me quickly talk about the sizing of the unit, where we have 3 different feeding lines. For the feedstock that is going to be pasteurized, it is prepared in a reception bowl with a screw. For the solid feedstock, it is prepared in a reception bowl with a walking floor. And for the liquid feedstock, it is in a pre-tank where we also receive the Alperujo olive pomace during the period from October to January, February. For the material to be pasteurized, received in a sealed building with an air treatment system. And this unit is an example because the nearest resident is 200 meters away and there are no neighborhood issues. It serves as an example of a unit that is well integrated into its environment and the models of circular economy. We are offering visits to our biogas plant, and we also engineer biogas plants that replicate this type of model in Spain. So thank you so much for your attention. I'm sharing my contact detail in that case you have any further question or would like to discuss your project. I will be happy to exchange more with you.
Great, thank you for your presentation. Maybe if you, sorry, Francisco?
No, nothing. Sorry.
Maybe a few questions before we move into the Q&A. So what do you think is the potential opportunities for olive pomace in Spain?
We know that olive pomace is also present great potential for biogas production in Spain, thanks to its rich organic composition. This would not only help valorize an abundant byproduct of the olive oil industry, but also contribute to the energy transition and sustainable waste management.
Great. Maybe one more quick one. You mentioned a few strategies you have for managing social acceptability in France. So do you think these can be applied to the Spanish circumstances?
Yes, of course. In France, we focus significantly on transparency and communication, ensuring we keep numerous doors open and engage in continuous dialogue with stakeholders. For example, many of our operators are committed to sharing their digestate with local communities, including municipal gardens and local population. Additionally, we organize mediation sessions to address consent and foster collaboration. I had the opportunity to organize a such session for projects in Normandy, and this model can absolutely be applied in Spain. We will be delighted to support you in implementing them there as well.
Great, thank you. So maybe we'll open up to the general Q&A now. We have a number of questions already in the chat. The first one I'll send over to Francisco, but Ines, if you want to jump in, you're more than welcome as well. So the first one I have here is, it looks like biomethane is the future, but what does that mean for the existing CHP units and facilities?
Well, we believe this is a good opportunity to develop biomethane because most of these installations are almost, I would say, obsolete, but the CHP are reaching the overall moment after 8,000 hours of working, so they need to be replaced. And to replace a CHP, the cost is basically the same of an upgrading unit, with the difference that to export, to sell electricity is not so well paid, because you have, for instance, you have to go to pool, and the price is much more with the competition that Ines mentioned of photovoltaic. We cannot compete. The cost of a megawatt with biogas is much more expensive than a kilowatt with coming from photovoltaic. So we think that most of them, they will choose to move from CHP to an upgrading unit, moving from electricity production to biomethane production. Is we believe that here is a good opportunity to move them to new installations, to use the digesters that they are in place, producing biomethane instead of electricity.
Okay, thank you. Ines, did you want to jump in on that as well?
Sorry, my computer disconnect me, so I'm not.
Yeah, it was just about the future of biomethane. Is that going to kind of take over from the CHP facilities, or is it going to be, what's it mean for the existing facilities? Are they going to remain CHP, do you think, or move towards biomethane?
I don't hear you a lot, but I'm just going to. Okay, wait. So we were talking about upgrading, because I'm sorry, I don't hear you a lot. I don't know why.
Oh, that's okay. It's about the future of the existing CHP facilities. Do you think they'll move in the direction of biomethane?
Yes. In France, we saw that we have at the beginning we have a lot of plants with CHP, but today they are changing. They are going to injection because the feed-in tariff is more interesting for the injection. So I think we are not going to. It's going to work, but not like injection. And a lot of plants is going to change to injections.
Thank you.
Another point, Ryan, is that when you use the biogas for electricity, you are only using 42-45% is the performance. The rest is heat. While you use biomethane, you are using double the double energy. I would say the performance is much higher when you use the biomethane instead of electricity. So you can export double of kilowatts than when you use electricity. I'm better paid, by the way. I'm better paid. Double production on double payment.
All right, thank you. Another one from the chat here is, so the AD technology in Spain, in your experiences, are you finding it's mostly local design or design from other parts of Europe?
Ines, what do you think? You're closer
I mean,
to technology.
yeah, I mean, we have to, if we are talking about the design of, I mean, the Spanish market is different from, I'm going to compare to French market, and it's very different. But at the same point, we have some points that we have to use. We have to take the technology of French biogas plant to put in Spain. I know that the size, for example, it's a very complicated point, because in Spain it's not the same, but in the same way we are going to see some problems, some issue like acceptation social with the size point. So I don't know, it's difficult to have an opinion, but I mean, we have to adapt, but we have to take the same point.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'll grab another one from the chat here. So what are the challenges to make the business case work in Spain without subsidies? In other countries, the feedstock prices and digestate treatment offtake can be a limiting factor. What is the cost of feedstock average for manure in Spain, or is it a revenue to treat waste? Is the manure exchanged as fertilizers with digestate?
Ines or I? Which is the question to her?
Both of you are more than welcome to jump in on
it. That's a issue that we saw a lot in Spain, but in France, for example, the operator of the plant are a lot of agricultural people, so they have the feedstock. So sometimes we have to pay for the feedstock, but that's not we don't see a lot of plants where we have to pay, and I think it's a balance. We just pay for the agro waste, but I think it's a balance. Because we are going to manage the waste, but in the same way, it's going to give us biogas. So I think it's a balance, and in France, we paid for the agro waste, but not for the agricultural waste.
Yeah, in my opinion, well, there are two questions here. One is why, what is the business case? Well, the business case, the biogas plants or biomethane plants now they have a future because of the price that you can sell the guarantees of origin. Because if you sell only the energy without a subsidy, it's not possible. That's the difference with France. We cannot have small biogas plants because the financial case is not working. You cannot get the numbers. So you need a plan that you can sell guarantees of origin, and in that case, the plan has a financially is feasible without subsidies. That's the case. Second question: to pay for the raw material. Well, to pay for the manure, to pay for the slurry, in my opinion, is a mistake. There is a principle in Europe that who contaminates, who pollutes, pays. If you apply this principle, that they don't have a resource, they have is waste. It's something that they have to take it in their cost. They have to include the cost for dealing with this waste. I mean the farmers. Of course, what the biogas offers them, biogas plants, is that to deal with that for free. But I think it's a big mistake to pay for it, because the energy a ton of manure or slurry can produce, it doesn't cover the cost of producing a kilowatt. So I think, but you can pay for other residues. You can pay, for instance, for olive pomos. Maybe you can pay for that. You can pay for glycerin, because the energy they produce is really interesting for the plant. But to pay for For waste, I think it's a mistake.
To give you an example, in Metamoli, in the plant that I told before, we didn't pay for the manure, and we also don't pay for the transport of the digestates. That's a model.
You can offer them to take the biofertilizer later on. To say, okay, when you have the manure is digested, you can take the digestate, but it's much better for to apply in the field that when you apply the manure like that without being treated before. So this is something also they can have for free, and additionally you can get later on a part of this biofertilizer, but never pay for it. My opinion.
Thank you both. Okay, grab another one from the chat here. So does Spain have its own regulations that have to be followed with regards to monitoring and reporting of gas concentrations? Presuming all plants have gas measurement, is this portable and fixed measurement? So maybe I'll ask. Yeah.
Which one?
Yes.
From Mike White. Does Spain have its own regulations that have to be followed with regards to monitoring and reporting gas concentrations?
Absolutely. We have it's the most difficult to get. We call that the autorización ambiental integrada. Probably you understand it in English. Autorización ambiental integrada for the environment. I tell you that it's very, very exigent. It takes a lot of time, and they ask for everything that will impact. For sure, they have very and for the permitting. In all the process of permitting, all the licenses, this is the most difficult to get. In all the licenses you need to have. I don't know if you, Ines, have the same experience that ambiental integrada is a nightmare.
Yeah, and it's difficult because sometimes we have like a first idea of our plan. So maybe 2 years ago we put like 2 digester, 2 post digester, and 2 storage tank. And 2 years after we change the feedstock, so we are going to change maybe the design, and it's taking 2 years more. So yeah, trámites medioambientales. That's a very important point in the design, but it's also a very important point to give some assurance to the institutions. So we have to work together in this point.
Great, thank you. I have one question here just asking about some examples of intermediary crops for AD in Spain. Would one of you be able to share a couple of examples of what Spain uses for intermediary crops?
I don't think it's using now in Spain. In France, it's called lessive. And it's during the stop of during May to September, but I'm not sure in Spain. Maybe Francisco.
No, here there are several kinds, but the main problem is not the kind of plant you're going to put. The main problem is that the soil of Spain is very dry. And then the Ministry of Agriculture has been very reluctant traditionally to change the use of the film. So everything that is not for feed or food, for animals or for people, it's very, very difficult to get a license because they say we have to use the film for only for feed or food, but not to make energy. That's why I said at the beginning that the German model was not a model for Spain, because the German model was basically for maize, for crops that they have the farmers, and that was the high growth of Germany was due to that. And in Spain, in the ministry will say, don't follow the German model, will not be in favor of this model. So it's not a matter of which kind of plan, it's more a principle of the Ministry of Agriculture. It's very difficult to convince them to change the use of the fuel.
Great, thank you. Maybe jumping down to bio-LNG. So do you see projects looking at bio-LNG instead of injection? And what do you see a potential in the Spanish market for these kinds of liquefaction projects?
I don't know if you, I mean, for me, yes, it makes sense because it's like it's a mixed energetic, like bio-LNG, CNG, what we saw in Metamoly. And for example, it was like, it's today giving fuels to interbuses, city to interbuses. So for me, it makes sense, but I don't know if you predicted, yeah.
It makes sense. For sure, it's a future for this sector, but it costs money. To liquefy costs money. So it means in the case that you cannot reach the grid because it's too far, this will be an alternative. But this to put an additional cost in your process, and we have to remember that we have no support. The only way we have now to make feasible from economical point of view, financial point of view, an installation is selling the warranties of origin together with the molecule, with the energy. So first of all, if we don't need to do that, the companies will do the easiest, the easiest plans to do. This is another step. Once is a economical margin to do it, probably it will be developed. But today there is enough things to do, without going to liquefaction, going directly to injection in the grid.
Great, thanks. And maybe while we're still on that sort of topic of liquefaction, do you see CO2 liquefaction developing alongside like a facility of that sort? For example, biogenic dry ice?
Yes, of course. CO2 is also something to keep in the equation, no? That's for in the financial case for sure. Today is not yet developed, but it's something that people are looking at, and is to commercialize CO2 is a plus to make the plant economically feasible. Yeah, for sure. But it's not yet a market in Spain for that. We are starting, I would say, almost with everything, no? CO2
Yeah.
for sure.
For sure, and we saw it in the pharmaceutical industry, alimentary industry, and also for the fruits. In France, we
For
use
the
it
winter
a lot.
houses, for the drinks, they need CO2, no?
Right.
But it's beginning to be very interesting in Spain too. We have a consultation about that.
All right. And for fuel production, back to, I guess, bio-LNG and bio-CNG. So do you think biomethane will go towards vehicle fuel production or back into the gas grid?
I think my opinion, it has a high potential for transport, for sure. Certain transport, for instance, for maritime or ships, it's huge. For heavy duty trucks, of course, too, because electrical trucks can only, for the last mile, can be electrical, but not for long distances. So yes, for sure. It's, I think, in my opinion, I don't know, Ines, what do you think? But I think transport would be one of the biggest users, no?
Yeah.
So biogas, biomethane.
In France and Italy, it's very developed for the bus. And I think it's going to be the same in Spain. We have a lot of logistic companies, and it will be very interesting for them.
Yeah.
Thanks. Another one here. So it's on the olive oil extraction. Alper-OU is also used for olive oil extraction. Could it be possible to separate the alpecin from Oreo? I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Alpecin. Yes, we have a lot of consultation in Spain about Alperujo and Alpecin. And it's working, of course, in co-digestion, but we published a document about that, and that I can share to BiogasWorld to share to everyone.
Great, thanks.
But yes, we can do anaerobic digestion with Alperujo and Alpecin.
Great, thanks. And on a similar vein, so do you expect the biomethane market in Portugal to go the same route as the Spanish market? Are they correlated with one another?
No idea.
I don't. No, what I see in Portugal is that they took a lot of time to maybe engage a movement, but at the end they took the example of France and Spain, and they took what they want, like and they have a lot of societies. So for the moment I don't know, but I think it's going to be a very good market and very clear, with a very clear regulation.
Okay, thank you. And maybe the last question I have in the chat here, I'm not sure if you both are familiar with how the CHP units get repurposed at the end of their lifespan, if they're resold or reused. What's sort of after their lifespan in a biogas facility?
Of course, maybe I didn't explain myself properly. The CHP is not to be thrown away, but the CHP every 80,000 hours, 80,000, that means 9-10 years, they need a maintenance called an overall maintenance. The overall maintenance is very complex. Sometimes they cannot do it in place. They have to take the CHP to the factory, and then they have to rebuild almost to make it new. Not make it new, but a lot of spare parts have to be replaced, a lot. And this costs money. So you have to pay a lot of money for the overall. You come back to the biogas plant, and then you again produce electricity. So electricity, only 45% performance of the capacity of energy you have, and also so not so well paid as biomethane. So what I wanted to say is probably most of the owners of the biogas plants will make a business case and say, well, let me see how much costs the overall, how long time I will need to get back this investment for the recovery of the investment, and if I move to upgrading, how much is the cost? Maybe it's a little bit more expensive, maybe, but I will sell biomethane, better paid, and with double performance. So that's why I say that today, the proof is that today, no biogas plant in Spain is being built to produce electricity. No promoter will project or will finance a plant for electricity. So that's why I think but it's not the motor, the CHP is still usable, of course, but economically, I mean, has no sense to continue using the CHP. I think so. I don't know, Ines, you think the same thing?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. No, it's I completely agree with what you say. So I have anything to say more because.
All right, thank you. So we're in our last few minutes here. So maybe if I could get a quick summary from both of you about the Spanish market, 1 to 2 lines. Are you optimistic that the potential will be, like the targets by 2030 will be met? What are your, a concluding thought about the market? So Francisco, we'll start with you.
Well, simply that we are very confident that we have a lot of challenges in front of us, but this market must be for sure, yes or yes, will be developed, because we have seen now that even without subsidies, without feed-in tariff, feed-in premium is still developing. We have the confidence of the gas companies and these big investors, like I said, JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs. So we will, and also the pressure of the European Commission from Brussels. So we are pretty sure that sooner or later we are going to be in this position that this country deserves to be, in the third position in Europe. This is my conclusion. It will take time, it will take an effort, but we will do it.
Yes, I agree with that. Spain offers a dynamic and growing market with considerable potential for companies, but we need to adapt to local regulations, and we need to have some help in regulatory and to have some help with all what we can give to information for the social acceptation. Yes, we are all no, yes.
Great, thank you. So that concludes our time today. As a reminder, the webinar recording will be shared with participants next week. If we're unable to get to your questions, we'll share them with our presenters and invite them to send you a response to the question via the biogas community. We invite everyone to join us on our biogas community platform to stay up to date and view content from our Spain Biogas Market Focus Month and to participate in our coming focus months. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to join us today, and thank you again to our presenters, Francisco Repullo with AEBIG and Ines Hedan with Methalac. Thank you both again for your time, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.